Time is, as they say, fleeting, which means we're almost through Women's History Month. Don't worry, fellas, your time is coming. One day you will be honored as well. But while we're still here, I have to give a very special Women's History Month shout out to a guy, kind of, at least the Biden administration, because this month the president signed an executive order expanding research on women's health. Because we all know that women's bodies and health have been understudied for millennia or forever, all through recorded history. And not all our pain can be cured with half a Tylenol and a hot water bottle. I mean, most can be, but not all. But here's the thing. I have some real choice words for the adults who have stood in the way of equality and necessitated that this needed to be an executive action. Women are people. These should be studied as such, because the truth is our bodies are all different. Pain and disease manifests in different ways in my body than in my husband's body. But just because it might look different doesn't mean it's not real. And too many women have gone untreated while their pain has been dismissed, whether in childbirth, menopause, or just in the everyday, in the mystery ways. This executive order is not going to solve everything, but it will get the ball rolling on research that might solve it all in the future. Plus, there's a very good chance that it was the first presidential executive order that included the word menopause. And this perimenopausal chick thinks that's pretty cool. This is Choice Words. I'm Samantha Bee. My guest today is my pal, Busy Phillips. You know and love Busy from Freaks and Geeks, Cougar Town, and Girls 5 Eva, which is now back with a new season. And her new late-night show, Busy This Week, premieres in May. Busy is the perfect person to wrap up Women's History Month with. She is independent, she is funny, and she makes big, bold decisions. So take a listen and make good choices. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm in LA in a
You're in
hotel.
Oh, hotel life is deluxe.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's weird. Do you have rituals that you do in hotels where you're like, I have the same thing for breakfast every day? Or is it just like, just throwing shit at the wall?
Well, kind of that, but also I have the affliction that I've never stayed in the same room ever.
Oh.
The first room that I'm given, I have to. It's not like I really every time I'm like, this time's going to be different. And every time I get to the room that they give me and I'm like, nope, this isn't it. I can't stay here. I'm so sorry. I'm going to need to see another room.
This was my practice. This was my practice room.
I swear it is at this point, it feels pathological. Like I feel like I gotta do something about it, but also I don't know. I mean, I can't be miserable. It's okay.
It's totally okay. And I never, because I grew up staying at, first of all, the hotel chain that we stayed at when I was growing up was called the Vagabond Motor Inn. And they were all over Canada. Right?
Okay.
Vagabonds.
I've seen them before. Yes.
With a man in it's just an old-timey cartoon
with
with a bindle.
Stick.
With a
bindle. Sorry.
His bindle. And he has a red nose and he's laying he's laying in the streets. And that's his motel. That's where he stays. So we stayed there. So my pathology is that I'm like, I respect this hotel room and I'll stay in it no matter goddamn what, and also clean it for the staff. But you know what? Okay, this is actually, it's so funny to open our conversation with this because it is because the whole podcast is about choices that we make in life.
Mm-hmm.
And we have opened with a hard choice and a decisive decision.
Yes.
I've heard you say how much you like to make decisions.
Oh, I love making decisions. Yeah.
You love it.
Yeah.
What is your process? How do you make them? Or is just like, are you like I feel like you are authoritative. You step into the light.
It's interesting. I talk about this in therapy a lot because I think there are certain buckets of life that I'm
Hmm.
so decisive
Right.
and yes, and I can access my immediate like knowing
Hmm.
is clear, you
Yeah.
know? And then there are certain other areas in my life and most of it is like relational with
Okay.
people
Hmm.
where I really can question myself
Mm.
and my decisions and I like have a tendency to not be able to know as definitively or and it bugs me because I know that I
Mm.
have this ability in all my
Hmm.
other in so many other ways. So I'm like, why do I continue a relationship with this person when they have shown that they're not great for me or nice to me?
Right.
What is that? When
Hmm.
I don't know. I
Right.
feel like this should be the decision in this interaction with a even like business with people that I work with sometimes where I'm like I feel like this should be the decision but what if
Right.
I'm wrong? Maybe I should give them
Right.
another chance.
Right. That's so interesting. Well, who do
I
you
know.
like? Do you have people who you turn to when you're in like, do you sometimes know that you're making the wrong that you're like, "Oh, this is not good, and everything in my body is telling me that this is not good, but I refuse to listen to it, and it's just gonna extend this process." But we do know where it's going.
Yeah. Yeah, normally it's after the fact, right? Like
Okay.
so I was kind of seeing speaking of like relationships, I was kind of
Mhm.
seeing this guy who lives in LA and but he was just not he wasn't great and it's not right and it's not the right fit
Right.
and I'm not a person who's like I wish I could be Sam. I wish I could be like I'm casual. Like
Oh,
I'm just
yeah.
here. I can just see you right now and then not ever see you and it doesn't matter. Like
Whatever. I'm not even
it's just
into it that much.
yeah. I'm just not that girl. I'm real I've never been that person. I'm just not. I get super invested in people
Mhm.
and continue relationships like sometimes like I said like long after they've
Right.
run their course or whatever. But yeah, but I had like that guy was in my dream last night and so then I was like maybe that means I should just like check it while I'm here.
Oh.
And I ran it by my friend and they were like, "What are you talking? No. Absolutely not. No. You're not doing that. I'm sorry." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Mhm."
You can never tell them that they were in your dream too, because they will interpret it's like to me, like having someone in your dream can be like when you get the tarot card and the tarot card is like murder. And you're like, what?
Yes.
Oh no. It doesn't just means like a new chapter, right?
No, and sometimes it just means death. Let it
Yeah.
die.
Let it die. Let it wither.
I know, but I was glad that I called my friend first
Good. That's
before
good.
I before I texted and regretted
That's
the
good.
text.
You have good friend relationships who
Yeah,
give
I
you
do.
hard advice, who give
Mhm.
you the difficult advice, and you take it and you listen.
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And I think but I do also think it's like I'm getting better at that for myself too. It's just a
Okay.
process, right?
Yeah. Is it getting better as you get older? Like it's just maturity, or you're just bringing a fresh, just evolution?
Yeah, I think like therapy and like working through your stuff and like
Yeah.
getting on the other side of some of the things and then you realize
Hmm.
like why that is a complicated thing for me, like people pleasing and you
Right.
can trace it back to your family of origin or whatever,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
once you're more aware of those things, making those choices does become easier.
How do you slough off being a people pleaser? How? Teach me.
I don't
I'm
know.
getting better at it, but it is hard.
It's hard.
That's one of the hardest things to just like say no to things and live in your true feelings and
I know.
not care how it's received.
Have you ever done any of this like somatic work that
No.
people are so into now?
I don't even
which I
know.
think is
I don't think I know what that is. What is that?
somatic work is like body, like getting into your body.
Okay.
Like the body keeps the score or
Okay.
whatever. Um, so it's like helpful. I have been doing like a little bit of this like somatic
Okay.
stuff recently
Mhm.
with this woman in Brooklyn. And it's so hard for me to
Mm.
identify like where in my body, like even to like sometimes she's like, what does it feel like right now in your body? And I'm like,
Right.
I don't know. What does it feel like in my what
I'm
should it feel
not
like in my body? Am I
I'm not
answering this
inside it.
right?
I'm not inside my
Right.
body.
Yes. And like, so you'll be talking about a thing or whatever. And then
Right.
she's like, and where are you feeling that? And then you kind of like have to like identify it and
Mm.
then put words to it, breathe
Right.
into it. It's complicated
Right.
but part of it is helping you to identify like what it is that you actually need and what it is
Right.
that you want.
Right. Right. Is it like the type of work where she's like, okay, so we're just gonna like loosen your body and we're gonna talk about this thing. And then you're talking about the thing. And then she's like, oh, I just noticed that your left butt cheek is so clenched and just on that side and just in that spot. And you're like,
No,
what? I don't
no, there's
even.
no, it's no, there's no, she doesn't really touch, she doesn't touch me, but
Okay.
it's more like there's like grounding, like your feet on the ground
Mm,
and then breathing and then there's some talking and then like if there's any emotions that come
okay.
up just from literally from breathing, it's weird.
Oh,
It's kind of
wow.
cool. But I understand, and part of why I was interested in it is exactly this thing of like, when you're a people pleaser, part of the issue, I think, is identifying for yourself what actually you do want. Because sometimes what
Mm,
you do want is to do the thing because it would mean so much to somebody else that you love.
right.
And that's okay too. Like that's valid,
Hmm.
even if it isn't kind of what you want to do.
Right.
But you
D-
have to be able to like be in full awareness of it so that
right.
you don't end up holding on to resentment or feeling like I'm always doing things for other people that they would never do for
Right.
me.
Do you feel like, and this is so random that I'm going to ask this, but I think
Ooh, I
it's
love
like
it.
kind of like maybe a little generational. Like, I feel like I've taught my children to be such non people pleasers that they have actually lost the ability to do something that is pleasing for someone else just because they love that person. Like, they've they're disconnected from the idea of like sacrificing
Anything.
anything to make
Huh.
someone else just like feel great or like to not I don't mean
I
to
know what you
characterize them
mean.
that way, but they're like, "Why would I
No, I know
do
what you
that?
mean.
Like, why would
Yeah.
I go to this dinner party? I really don't know anybody there. Why would I go?" And I'm like, "Well, because that's what you do. Because sometimes you just go to a dinner party
Right.
that
Sometimes you just have
where
to
you
go
don't
to a
know
dinner
anyone.
party.
Sometimes you just have to." And they're like, "Yeah, but why?" And I'm like, "Look, I don't
Yeah.
know. You just have to. Get in the car. Get your
Yeah.
tight pants on."
I mean, that's weird. I don't know. I actually think that's interesting. I think that one of my children
Mhm.
has more of a tendency to do something that she doesn't want to do because someone else really wants her to do it.
Right.
She's sort of more empathetic in that way. Not
Mhm.
they both have empathy, but
Yeah.
like they're not not raising sociopaths.
Right. No,
Um
no, no. To be clear. To be
to be
clear.
clear, guys. No, but I have one child who's just like a little bit more sensitive to others
Okay.
and like their feelings
Okay.
in terms of like her participation in
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Like my older daughter is so sensitive that sometimes I really relate to it. Sometimes I see her shut it off because it's
Okay.
just too overwhelming.
Want to listen to the rest of this episode? Head over to your favorite podcast player to hear the entire show. I highly recommend it.